I think one of the greatest things about St. Lawrence is the fact that we bring in students from diverse backgrounds and fiscally are responsible for their being able to come to St. Lawrence. I think that's something we need to protect. I think that it's one of the greatest attributes of the school. It's different, especially within a small liberal arts school, and I think that it provides unique perspective, whether it's people from across the United States, but also internationally. I think it's one of the greatest things that we're able as students to come in contact with in our classrooms. I think that it's something that is important as far as the changes, especially with the difficult times as far as the budget and the fiscal responsibility of the school. I think is something the school, the administration, and the board should try to protect. That said, I think there are also responsibilities that the school needs to be a realist in the sense that looking at the numbers, looking at what's the capability of the school to be able to accommodate various programs. So with that said, it's something that I'd obviously work with the board, but I would try to convey the best interests of the student body, and I think that is that aspect of yours.
As far as dealing with different ideas and values, I definitely had the chance by coming here to the States to study at St. Lawrence to deal with different, values. Like American culture for me at first was a big shock. So yeah, I left. My home is like 6,000 miles across the Atlantic. So I definitely understand the importance of being here, and I appreciate being here. I also think that in the long run, we should, as a school, try to maintain, first of all, our diversity. And then I'm not only thinking about international diversity, but also, accepting people from different backgrounds within the United States. Actually, I don't know if you knew, but I think this is a pretty shocking figure. Around 5% of the school are international. Other liberal arts colleges have around 10%. I think that right now, the university, is faced, with severe, issues, concerns, and troubles, financial of nature the most. I think in the short run, maybe it would be necessary to maybe decrease this diversity and maybe decrease, scholarships if absolutely necessary. But as economic indicators right now are suggesting, we are coming out of a recession, and I think better times are coming up. So we should, start thinking again about working for more diversity, because I think that makes ultimately the school stand out both within the nation and internationally, and makes it a better place, a place with more ideas and different values. Thank you.
I'm glad you asked this question, because this is sort of what I tried to get at in my introduction, and something, and I've been sort of a Debbie Downer compared to the other guys, but we do have a lot of hard decisions coming up, and without a doubt, whoever wins this is going to have to probably do something that is less than ideal. But I guess in moving forward and dealing with this conflict, we can find creative solutions. Like I mentioned with the expanding Greek life to accommodate an expanded student body. If we had more Greek houses off campus, we would inherently open up more residence spaces on campus. So I think in dealing with difficult issues that we're going to have to, it's important to keep in mind that we have the opportunity to shape the decisions and shape the way they're implemented. And as we get these difficult problems, see them as a challenge and also see the potential in them for creating a positive change. If we're adding 40 students per year, immediately we may not have the resources to offer maybe international students the financial support they need to come. But in the long run, if we sustain that model of accepting more students, we could, in theory, delegate a certain number of spots, maybe these 40 spots per year, to expanding that diversity. And I think that's the type of solution we can look for. They may not be immediate solutions, but it's a way of structuring the decision-making process so that there are positive outcomes, so that we have something to look forward to or at least something to make a difficult decision more palatable. Thank you.
The most influential document that will determine the future of St. Lawrence is the RRP2, also known as the Recession Response Planning, Part 2. Some people call it R2D2. Sounds like you guys have talked about it a little bit. But I'd like to really dive into the specifics of the report. Myself and the new student delegate will spend the majority of our time at the next 3 trustee meetings talking with trustees, senior staff, President Fox about this report specifically. From there on out, we'll develop a report with the trustees for the future of St. Lawrence the next 5, 10, 15 years. What aspects of the report you see as positive, what aspects of the report you see as negative, and what have you done to talk to the student body to gauge their interest?
All right. Yeah, I agree. It is probably as I said, we're at a crucial moment. I think in going through that report, it's very extensive, 70 pages, 80 pages. It's substantial if you haven't seen it. There are a few things that are pretty clear right from the get-go. There are large, sweeping solutions, like adding more students per incoming class, reducing the amount of funding we have available to students who need financial support. Sort of low-hanging fruit, things that are going to be easy to grab and things that are going to have substantial effects. And I think immediately, those are the type of programs we're going to have to go forward with. They're going to be difficult programs to go forward with, but those are the sort of programs that I think our school needs now to get it back in a position where we can, again, sort of flourish the way we have been for so long. And I think that, as I've said a multitude of times tonight, we can do it in a creative and positive way. There are a lot of really small suggestions that I think wouldn't serve a purpose immediately for solving the $5 million deficits we're looking at in the coming years. But I think they're also really positive suggestions. Things like repurposing Canaris maybe so that we can use it throughout the year, have get some kids off campus and actually spend a semester there potentially. There are a lot of really insightful recommendations in that report, and in going through it, it's evident that the people who put it together put a lot of time in it, and I think that it serves as a really positive note for our school because it gives us some paths to move on as we head forward. Will that answer your question?
Well, I do not like. I'm not very familiar with the report. I'll be honest, and I don't like talking about things that I'm not very familiar with. I understand that the report, reflects that we do have financial troubles and that these need to be addressed. But as I said, I'll be willing to look into it more in the future and as this campaign progresses. But right now, I wouldn't know what to tell you.
For one, I think the report is extremely valuable, especially for the school, obviously, because it was put together for the best interest of the school. By looking at a number of different schools and administrations and seeing how they do things. I think obviously with what's going on in the ripple effects of kind of the global recession, it's extremely complex for schools to evaluate what are their priorities. I think it's something that the report alludes to or talks about is how to gain this for one more, getting more students on campus. One of the things that it's talked about is the growing size of the incoming freshman classes. And with that, you obviously think about the ramifications for suddenly more students on campus. And for that, we talked a little bit about it before, but the housing issues, I think that there are a lot of things that come together to make it all seemingly fairly complex. I think some of the propositions that have been raised and some of the other candidates have talked about it, is more off-campus programs, whether they be the NYC program, that's something that's going to start, the continuation of the Adirondack semester, as well as things that's been talked about as far as establishing a business school that would naturally bring in more cash inflow. I think it's something that obviously the board is taking a great deal of attention to. I think also it's tapping into alumni. I think alumni is a source of how this school really functions, and it's a testament to the time that they had here and the